Hey guys, some breaking news just came here. The Springboks, of course, have moved down to Cape Town. They're playing the Wallabies on Saturday in Cape Town, and of course, after that shock loss at Ellis Park, a lot of concern about the team, a lot of talking going along around rugby circles, and a lot to talk about. But the big breaking news is that there are four massive injuries, four players out of this weekend's game, including captain Sia Kolisi, and that's a massive one. Let's first deal with that. We'll get on to the others now. But the first one is Sia Kolisi, who's out for 4 weeks, which means it puts him in doubt for the New Zealand tour. Remember, the Boks play at Eden Park on the 6th of September and in Wellington on the 13th of September. So that's massive. If he's out for 4 weeks, what now on the 18th of August, 4 weeks is to about the 18th of September. He might not be back for that Wellington game. He might make it to that Wellington game. Maybe he recovers a bit early. Injuries are never set in stone in the amount of weeks it comes to come back. But it certainly seems like Sia's in a race against time to be in New Zealand, and may miss that All Black game. He's certainly missing this game. He of course came off with a niggle with a knee injury in the, I think it was the 45th minute of the game against the Wallabies, and Boks was still in control then. But when they lost him, things sort of fell apart. Now there was several reasons for that, not just losing Sia, but that certainly the leadership on the field in that second half certainly has got a lot to answer for this weekend, and I think everybody, even Rassie, would probably mention that as well. But that's the first thing. The second thing, which is rather interesting, is the other players to go is Peter Steph du Toit. Apparently got a concussion on the weekend, so he'll be out for probably 14 days, depending on the return to play protocols, depending on the seriousness of the concussion. But it certainly is a concussion that's got him out this weekend. So that's two of the loose trio out. And then the other two players who are also out is Kurt the Orense, the winger, and Edward van der Merwe, the other winger. So both wingers are out. So that's big setback for Boks, massive setback for them at the moment to lose those players just when they lost that game. Of course, a lot been talked about this game at Ellis Park and the shock of it. And I'll do a video a bit later just about some thoughts about that now after, maybe 48 hours later. But just on that, so 4 injuries, 2 wingers out, 2 loose forwards. So where does that leave the Boks? Well, Rassie said last week that they'd already named the team for this week in Cape Town internally, but he did admit on Saturday night after the game that they would probably change that team anyway because of the defeat. Because the mantra in the Bok team is always if things are going well, then they keep their plans, but they adjust if things don't go well. So he did say there would be some changes coming to the side anyway. What we did hear last week is that there would probably be a return for Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu and Andre Pollard at fly-off. I think even if there wasn't going to be one after what happened on Saturday, you'd want one of those two back, and especially Andre Pollard back, just Mr. Steady there at the helm of the Boks. So those two will be back, and Rassie also talked about Morne van der Berg getting a shot this coming week in Cape Town. Whether that's still going to happen we'll have to see. The other one he said was the two players who are struggling with niggles, Damien Delenda and Cheslin Colby, would both be back. So Damon will probably come back into the midfield. I think they probably need him back there. Not that Andre Este hasn't played badly. He, in fact, was probably one of the standout players for the Boks and certainly excelled in those first 20 minutes when the Boks were ahead. But Ches and Colby coming back makes fills one wing position because of Edward van der Merwe and Kurt the Orense both being out. And the other one was, we reckon it's probably going to be Kanan Moody because he was up for the press conference on Monday. So he's likely to go into that wing position as well. So that's the one part sorted out. So if you have that change and you have Damien Delenda coming back in, interesting to see what are they going to do at fullback. Will they keep Apelele Fassi or bring Damien Willems into the starting lineup, or even Willie Leroux at the back there? It's all possibilities, and we'll find out on Tuesday when the Boks name their side as well. But that's the first part. The back line's fine. I don't think there's too many problems. They'll obviously decide what's best for them for this game and bring those players in. But I think where the real concern is that loose forward, because let's go through the injury list already. I mean, we had Jean Augustus, Elric Lowe, Cameron Hanekom all out with injury, and then we have we've had Jasper Visser suspended till the second game in New Zealand as well. So those all those 4 players are out anyway. The players still in the squad that are loose forwards that aren't injured, if you take Peter Stefan and Sia out, is Kwagga Smith. You've got Marco van Staden, and who's the other one? Jean-Luc Dupre. Now, I guess that they'll probably all feature in the match day 23 in some respect this weekend, but it's going to be interesting how they balance that loose trio, especially the way Fraser McGrath got to the breakdowns, the way the Aussies dominated the breakdowns this last week. That's a huge problem for the Springboks at the moment, and that's where part of the reason why they lost in that second half. They didn't protect their breakdown ball. When Sia went off and Marco van Staden was almost there alone, they certainly had lots of problems trying to protect their own ball at the breakdown. It was fine the first couple of phases, but as soon as it went a bit more wide, they were isolated quite quickly by the Wallabies, and very cleverly so. So that's going to be certainly something that weighs upon their minds. Who else is there? Now, on standby, guys who were in the squad in June and July, but were left out of the squad for these games against Australia, are Evan Roos and Vincent Chituka. You could probably see both of them coming back, although the Boks haven't named any replacements just yet. We probably would hear a bit later today or tomorrow if there are going to be a couple coming in, but yeah, those guys will probably come in. Of course, there's some other options the Boks have as well. If you really want to spread it a bit further, guys who've played in the loose trio, either for their franchises or at some point for the Springboks, include Kobus Wisse, who played 8 against Georgia. You've got Ruan Nokia, who's played at flank for the Bulls as well. I expected him to come in at a lock at some point this week, or be somewhere on the field there. And then you've got Franco Mostert, who was on the bench, who probably didn't perform as he should have at this park. He's one of the players that there's a question mark about. So he's the other guy who could play on the flank as well. I think the big thing comes to them is just how they're going to handle that breakdown and what they need there. That's why I think Marco van Staden was pretty good in those opening 20 minutes. They certainly lost momentum. He went off with an HIA test. Apparently the mouthguard sort of beeped, and he didn't have an HIA, just the mouthguard malfunctioned apparently. So he was off. But that's where almost the game changed, because in that time that he was off, the Boks conceded their first try to Australia, and there was a penalty. And when Sia went off as well, Marco came back on, of course. But suddenly the impact of Kwagga at the same time at the breakdown wasn't quite there. I think the Boks will be the first to admit that. So some really interesting selection choices to be made this week. And the injuries just complicated, and Sia out, and especially for the New Zealand tour, because even if they win this weekend, win well, you'd want Sia's leadership there in New Zealand as well. Sia scored a try on Saturday. He certainly looked pretty good there. But it's a massive one. There's a massive blow for the Boks to have those players out. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what they're going to do. Russi's obviously naming his team on Tuesday. He pitched up at the press conference on Monday as well to as he said, get the message across to everybody, because he said Dion Davids has a line-out meeting. Dion Davids was scheduled to chat to the media and obviously then reveal, but he didn't give much more information. We'll probably find out in the coming days, and I'm sure tomorrow at the press conference the guys will ask as well. But that's it for now. It's massive news reverberating now. Maybe not as big as the shock that the Wallaby win sort of sent to World Rugby, but certainly from a Springbok context, this is massive news that they probably wouldn't have wanted at this moment. And you're going to have to be very interesting. I think that team announcement tomorrow is going to be watched for 2 reasons. One, just to see who's coming to the side and who's made these replacements, but also because of the response that Bok fans will have wanted for this game. So that's the breaking news, big news here. It never rains but it pours, Bok fans. Rusty's got a lot on his plate now, and the management team have got a lot to work on. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you think. Who do you think should come in? What selection? What loose trio do you want to see on the park on Saturday? What do you think is going to be good to stop the Aussie the ball? What's the name? The jacklers. I was going to say boljachters. See, I'm thinking in Afrikaans here. But what do you think is going to be able to stop them? What is the best balance for that loose trio, and how big a loss is Sia if he is out for the New Zealand game? Obviously a lot of opinions on the comments. I do read them all. I do appreciate them, and as always, the one thing we have to ask in every video, smash that subscribe button, put the thumbs up for the likes and all that, so we can grow this channel. But again, thanks for watching, and I'm keen to read your thoughts. Cheers.